Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chrissa McFarlane. I am the founder and CEO of Patientory, which comprises the Patientory Association, our nonprofit entity whose mission is to help healthcare organizations adopt emerging technology such as blockchain technology, and the current incubator for Patientory Inc., which is a population health management solution powered by blockchain technology and gives users access to actionable insights into their data for improved health outcomes and well-being. I'm absolutely thrilled to be chairing and partnering with the Health Track at the second edition of the Future Blockchain Summit. Can you raise your hands if you were here last year? Just so I know that you guys, awesome, great, thank you. We would like to extend great gratitude to Smart City Dubai and the Dubai World Trade Center team for organizing such a world-class event and bringing together over 8,000 people to advance our global ecosystem as we move towards a blockchain-powered network. Global Market Insights reports the use of blockchain technology by healthcare payers will witness a robust growth of over 66% over the next 5 years. The use of blockchain technology by healthcare payers will eliminate the concerns regarding security, violations, and privacy. As a result, technology will help open the patient management systems, electronic health records, and health information management systems to broad networks, allowing healthcare providers, payers, patients, and other stakeholders exchange crucial generated data and medical information. Blockchain technology has proven to be beneficial for several applications in securing vast data, decentralization, immutable record keeping, and the potential to tackle the growing illegal counterfeit drug industry by tracking drug movements. For instance, increasing risk of counterfeit drugs will spur the growth of blockchain technology in the healthcare market in the forthcoming years. In the last few years, there has been a steep rise in the of counterfeit drugs in the market, killing an estimated 1 million people annually. The World Health Organization reports around 10% of medicines across the globe are counterfeit. Nonetheless, with new emerging technologies, there has been an increase in number of hackers and forces devoted to exploiting vulnerabilities in these advancements. The incidence of these medical data breaches will result in increased adoption of blockchain technology in healthcare. It is with great pleasure to have in our presence today our esteemed panelists and speakers who will be addressing the topics and how their organizations are being transformed through the use of blockchain. Just to name a few, representatives such as Walid Al-Douri of Application Development Section at Dubai Health Authority will be addressing the benefits of blockchain technology for doctors' licensing and credentialing. Ian Avisco, former Deputy Secretary General for E-Services Innovation at the Ministry of Social Affairs in Estonia, will be addressing how Estonia has successfully migrated 1.3 million citizen records onto the blockchain, creating a highly secure national medical record. So before we get started, just a few housekeeping. Please note we will be taking a 20-minute break at 3:30 p.m. We kindly ask that you do not leave the room as we will be reserving refreshments at the back. Also, if you have not done so already, please download the Future Block Summit app as we are tracking audience engagement and questions that will come through the app. So if you have a question, please use the app. We want to hear from you. Your questions will be displayed on the screens during the session for our moderators and speakers to see and address accordingly. Lastly, please turn off all cell phones or put it on vibrate. So without further ado, I would like to bring to the stage our first panel, The Cure for Scattered Medical Data. With the world's population more mobile than ever, keeping track of a patient's medical records is becoming ever more challenging. Blockchain is set to be a game changer by providing a whole new decentralized approach to preserving medical records. So is it the answer to ensuring the integrity of patient-controlled health records? I'd like to bring to the stage Daniel Nigrin. He is the current Senior VP and Chief Information Officer at Boston's Children's Hospital, as well as the Assistant Professor of Pediatrics at Harvard Medical School. His claim to fame is shaping IT to support patients and clinicians at one of the world's preeminent pediatric institutions for almost 2 decades. You're welcome. Next, I would like to bring to the stage Synho, the Director of Laboratory of Medical Imaging and Computation at Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard Medical School. His claim to fame is reinventing healthcare at one of the top 5 hospitals in the world through blockchain and AI. We'll give him a round of applause. And last but not least, I'd like to bring to the stage Dr. Abdullah Albeyatti. He is a board member of NHS Digital and also the CEO and co-founder of Medicalchain. Great. His claim to fame is he's a serial entrepreneur and award-winning fintech expert. He specializes in the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in the design of complex financial systems. So, to get the panel started, we'll start with Daniel. Or actually, we'll go to Dr. Abdullah.
Sure.
Great, because I think you're the only entrepreneur on the stage right now, apart from myself.
Well, for yourself.
Exactly. So with the new UK Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, keen to roll out digital technologies, has AI...
Could you sit on that side? No one, people can't see the podium.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Stating the question again, with the new UK Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, keen to roll out digital technologies, has AI started to overshadow blockchain utility in the national health systems in the UK?
Yeah, so thanks very much for having us, Chrissa, and inviting us to share this experience with the audience. So yes, essentially the hype surrounding AI, I would say, is now overtaking the hype which was surrounding blockchain. The difference is here, which in my experience is that blockchain's actually proven itself as a use case in different industries, the financial sector, for example, and what you and I are trying to accomplish now in the health sector. In terms of the AI of course has its place in healthcare as it does in everything else as well. The issue with AI is that it depends on millions and millions of data points. And the reason you and I are in this industry, and our other 2 speakers as well, is because getting access to that data, that health data, is so difficult. So I think if you want to really succeed with an AI solution, you have to first of all build it on something which is going to give the researchers or those industry people access to that data in the first place. I mean, I hope that we will be able to progress both in blockchain and in an AI system. But as you know, in the UK we have big problems with Brexit at the moment. So the whole government is on shutdown, and you can't have these conversations with Matt Hancock or anybody else because they're so busy trying to sort out the future of our country.
Yeah, so that brings me to another point. You know, with the growing need for more AI strategies in NHS, do you even think they have an appetite for blockchain, given a lot of the political landscape at the moment in terms of innovation?
I mean, in a good way, I'm glad that not a lot of people know what blockchain is. And the reason I say that is because in my opinion, I think blockchain should be sold in the same way that the internet is sold. We don't talk about it. We talk about the applications that work on the internet. We don't talk about the internet themselves. And I think when it comes to healthcare, again, if you want to talk about the functionality of AI, that's great. But patients and clinicians to a large number won't understand how blockchain is and don't need to understand how blockchain works. All you're going to tell somebody is this is a more secure way of managing somebody's information, and leave it there.
No, that makes sense. This leads me to Synho, because you guys are actually, implementing AI technologies and strategies at Massachusetts General Hospital. You guys develop AI algorithms, as you had mentioned on our call prior, in the academic medical center. to improve the performance of the AI, we actually need, big data sets, big repositories of information. But, challenges such as siloed databases, can pose a challenge for actually getting access to that information. So how do you think blockchain technology, can address this?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, let me comment on the Dr. Abdullah's, the mention about blockchain. People actually try to understand blockchain, but scared about blockchain, and that's the problem. Actually, we need to explain blockchain in healthcare very clear way. Otherwise, it's very hard to accept in the healthcare environment. We developed multiple AI algorithms for medical imaging detection, segmentation, and classification, disease, all kinds of algorithms. But again, to improve the performance of AI algorithm, we need a huge big data set. But with one hospital, only a few institutes has limited data sets. So we like to collect a huge data set through whole Massachusetts or whole United States, but we have legal issues. HIPAA compliant data, patient's data is a very sensitive information, so it's very hard to share outside of hospital. If we explain the power of blockchain, easy way and efficient way to the people, the authority of hospitals and also patients, then we might be able to collect a huge data set to improve the high performance of AI algorithms. That might be great, potential impact in the real clinical environment.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a great technology, but as you mentioned, we have hurdles such as regulations, HIPAA compliance, GDPR in the UK. So let's go to Dan. Healthcare as a sector has historically, been slow to adopt new technologies, whether because of research constraints or because of a desire to be more conservative, as opposed to other industries, because it deals with real people, the well-being of others. Do you think this will similarly lead to slow adoption of blockchain in healthcare?
Yeah, thanks, Chrissa. I definitely think that, look, healthcare has been conservative leading up till now. Hippocratic oath, first do no harm kind of thing. So I think envisioning a rapid adoption of a brand new sort of technology that not many people, as we've talked about, fully understand is going to be a tall order. I also think that the conflation that people make between cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, etc., things they've heard about that, and not fully understanding the distinction and the difference between cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Obviously, cryptocurrency is based on the blockchain sort of infrastructure, but talking about blockchain in the healthcare context is certainly going to make people a little bit more weary simply because they don't fully understand. Right. So as Synho was just saying, I think we've got a tall order ahead of us with respect to education to make people understand what the technology is, why it's important in a healthcare context, and understanding what the benefit might be afforded to healthcare by using it. So that's the challenge ahead of us. But to answer your question directly, I think it will be a stepwise process. It's not going to be a rapid, all-in adoption. Let's dive in.
Yeah.
We've had our own difficulties in the UK. For example, even if you park blockchain to the side, there have been many technologies which have come over the decades where they tell doctors, this is the new way we're going to do things. This is the new software. This is the new ordering system, the new booking system, the new accounting system. And these things more or less break down, or they don't serve the function which they promised to. So you have this added level of barrier where every time the clinicians or the governing body have given in and said, okay, let's give it a chance, they've been let down. And then we'll come along and say, look, we've come with another new thing, and say, we know how this story goes. So it's another hurdle to cross over.
That's actually right. And, going to your point, being a startup in this space, how have you tackled those challenges?
So my benefit is that I'm a clinical doctor. I still see patients. I see patients on Mondays and Fridays. So I have a lot of leverage within the NHS. I have a lot of leverage within NHS Digital as well, and talking to different people in our ecosystem. So we managed to sign up a few pilots. We did one pilot last year already, which ended, and we're starting now the second pilot, which is ready to go for version 2 of our application in 2 or 3 months' time. I think our difficulty as a startup is, can we stay in the ring for long enough? I think if it's not us, it will be somebody else, because I fully believe in this technology and I fully believe in this solution. And I think this mindset of giving patients access to their information is not a difficult hurdle to get over. And as you said, with Estonia, they've already done this and they've already reaped the benefits of doing this already. But from a startup company's perspective, do we have enough runway? Do we have enough funds? Will we have enough revenue generating to stay within this ring so that we can establish ourselves there?
No, it makes sense. And for Synho, just last few comments before we take questions, do you guys have any recommendations for the industry, being, with on the academic side, being on the commercial side, whether that's partnering with other companies to build blockchain ecosystems, or just starting at, the beginning in terms of pilots?
Yes, for startups, it's a big challenge to get access to healthcare data set. A lot of people try to work with us in the academic medical center. So I think that's a great idea to start with the research and proof of concept in the education, research, and proof of concept development inside of big hospitals, and then show them it works. It really works. It gives real benefits to the people. Then people would accept much better than just talk about it and just try to sell their product to the customers directly.
Absolutely.
Chrissa, what I'd say is one of the things that I'm excited about is the fact that within the healthcare IT world, we're starting to see a transition to better exposure of the data, of a patient's data, from the underlying electronic health record systems that we use. So in the US, there's now a mandate that all of our EHR systems be able to expose a patient's data using standardized APIs or application program interfaces. That kind of unlocking of the data and allowing third-party applications and or technologies to consume that data, whereas before the data was locked within those EHRs. That's going to be a hugely important step with respect to the promulgation of technologies like blockchain, because as we were talking about, it does require lots of data, and the ease with which we can extract data from an underlying EHR system is going to facilitate the flow. So I think we're at an important juncture at a higher level within healthcare IT that's going to facilitate technologies like blockchain to take root.
Great. Now we'd like to open it up to the audience. I believe we have a mic at the back if you have a question. For our panelists, any questions?
No questions?
No questions. We can actually keep going. Here we go.
Hi. My question is towards Dr. Abdullah. Happy to see you here. You are being the CEO and co-founder of Medicalchain. I have read a little bit about your Medicalchain, and actually I plan to invest some money in that also. But what is the current status of your project? Like whether you are able to go ahead with the project, or it's in a standstill stage, or we're in an experimental stage, or do you have any case studies where we can incorporate your Medicalchain into the realm of real healthcare issues to be answered?
Yeah, so thanks very much for your question. From our perspective, we are aiming for our low-hanging fruit. So our low-hanging fruit is the UK, because I work in the UK and I know people in the UK, so we want to establish ourselves in clinics there. Our current approach, if you will, is actually we are giving this technology away for free. So we just want to run free pilots for at least 3 to 6 months. And when I talk to the clinics or I talk to the clinicians, I am completely transparent, where I tell them this is how I see it working, but I'm not sure how you would want it to work. Should we try it in this type of clinic, or triaging, or telemedicine, for example, is one of our solutions, and what we did our application on last year. We have a joint working agreement with the Mayo Clinic in America, and we're trying to establish ourselves there as well. And on Saturday, I'm flying to Shanghai because I have some meetings in China as well. There's a lot of things that we're doing, but from our company's perspective, we have to focus on a real case scenario, if you will, and that will be in 2019. You mentioned before that you joined in with our currency before the med tokens. I mean, this is something out of our hands, and as you can see, the rest of the market is quite down. What I hope will happen is once we establish ourselves and we become not a company known for blockchain, but more a company known for supporting patients and clinicians, then all of this should recover, I hope.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, we have one in the front.
Hi, Ali. I'm Ali from the ambulance services.
Sorry, I can't.
You can't hear me?
No, yeah.
No, okay. Ali from the ambulance services in Dubai, senior medical auditor. Any researches that would help the patient pre-hospitally, like treating the pre-hospitally with the blockchain or something like that, that will help the pre-hospital environment?
Yes, so we already have a solution for this. It's a prototype at the moment, but the idea is one of the things you can do in a blockchain network is you can have multiple signatures, if you will. So the idea is if somebody has their data connected to the blockchain, if I am conscious, you need my permission to give you access to this data.
Yes.
If I'm unconscious and the paramedics, the ambulance service is picking me up, how will we get access to this data? And the idea is when the patient is setting up their dashboard or their portfolio, they are able to choose saying, if there are multiple signatures on my account, I'm happy to release my data. And when we say data, we're talking about specific data in an emergency situation. My name, my date of birth, who my next of kin is, so somebody can phone my wife or my father and tell them that I'm unwell, and my blood type, for example. And the idea is if you have two paramedics on the scene, or you have two doctors, you have two nurses, there'll be multiple signatures in order to release just
The
that
data, yeah.
vital information. How are you going to advertise to somebody you have this medical chain account in the first place? This is, what we have to work on. Will it be a wearable device? Can we do some kind of deal with Apple watches or Samsung watches? This is, as I say, it's just a proof of concept at the moment, but it can be done.
It can be.
And I'd also add myself that I think thinking about a patient-controlled health record, right? As Abdullah was just pointing out, having a blockchain-based, distributed, secure, personally controlled health record is going to enable exactly that kind of functionality for an emergent situation, for a referral to a new physician who's not ever seen me as a patient before. Having that health record out there, essentially, available to authorized providers to be able to view, not alter in any way, and be able to addend to as appropriate, I think is a very powerful concept.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Okay, we have time for one more question from our esteemed panelists here. And it has to go back, with, our discussions around AI and its integration with distributed ledger technologies and blockchain. And for most people, the real question is, what is the value of blockchain in this industry, in this ecosystem? So let's assume that AI are deployed, algorithms are deployed in clinics. How do we know that these trained parameters of AI algorithms are intact and not corrupted? And can blockchain be useful to be a safeguard of malicious attacks or malfunctions in a comprehensive system like this?
That's actually the heavily discussed topic in AI healthcare industry. Recently, the paper published in Nature, I believe, the adversarial attack for the healthcare AI system. So that, for example, we developed the brain hemorrhage detection algorithm. So there's a patient in the emergency room. His or her CT scans, obviously we have a hemorrhage. But somebody, the malicious people attack the CT scanner or our AI system, change the parameters. So based on the original brain hemorrhage detection AI algorithm would say, oh, there's a hemorrhage. But the parameter was changed so that even though in real patient CT image there is a hemorrhage, but it could say, oh, there's no hemorrhage. That kind of serious malpractice can be happen if we don't have any secure measure. But blockchain is a great way to keep this AI algorithm, all those trained parameters. Actually, when we train AI algorithm, the number of trained parameters are millions of numbers. So that those numbers is very hard to keep track of everything. But blockchain is a good solution, I think.
Great. Does anyone want to add to that?
No, I think I echo what Synho says. I mean, it should be seen really as an added level of security, removing what you would deem the middleman, which is somebody who's going to authenticate this information. So you don't need this person to constantly tell you whether it's authentic or not.
Examples are about to begin. Kindly make your way. Thank you. Have a lovely afternoon.
Well, with that, I would like to thank Daniel, Synho, Dr. Abdullah for joining us today and for speaking on this panel, The Cure for Scattered Medical Data. Thank you.